See here, we should be going live now. Hello, everyone. I know it's been quite some time since you've seen my pretty mug. I'm going to try my uber best to continue to stick to this and really be a driver for this and get a lot of. Why is not my wish list here? Oh, my top tier. Okay. Save. Do the universe. Got it. All right. So I hope everyone is doing fantastic out there. I know it's been quite some time since we've last talked. Watch list themes. This is my position. Where did it go? Main list. There it is. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. Again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please put it in the chat there. What I'm going to be doing today is basically just running through uh, a ticker list here within Deep View is what I'm using for my charts now. Um, and I execute most of my trades through like Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, or I use mainly Tastyworks as well, or Tasty Trade. Sorry, they continuously change their name there. Um, Couple of disclosures. This is just for educational entertainment purposes. I am not a certified financial advisor. Please talk to a financial advisor on making any investments uh, prior to doing your own research as well. It's very important for sure. Um, and what we're going to be looking at is basically some charts. We're going to be looking at data. We're going to be looking at potential fundamentals. We'll discuss some things. I want to do deep dives on a couple stocks that I'm currently looking at. One is for sure is definitely Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy has been one that has been really much a stock that just been came out of nowhere, at least for me. This stock kind of has uh, caught my eye. You can see here, we can kind of get into a little bit more detail here, but like Bloom has just like blossomed, aka bloomed into this like rocket ship, basically with this large volume. Let's go here to a daily side. Basically, on right even before its earnings, it gapped up quite substantially on their earnings. So this is the 725. So basically the end of excuse me, July. It popped up quite a bit here on earnings. A gap up. Never actually filled the gap, which is very rare actually. There's a lot of statistics showing that most gaps get filled, and if it's a gap up like this, it has a 50% chance of it continue to run, and those are a fairly good odds if you're speaking of that. Um, and it's been riding up, not even touching the 21 EMA on the daily side, which is this blue line here. Let's me make this. I want to make this one actually a little bit thicker if I can. Visibility, minutes, weeks. I have it on. What? Okay. Week. All right, fine. That's that. So yeah, it's been riding up the 21 EMA. Not even riding up. It's been parallel. Not even touching the 21 EMA, which is quite amazing to be quite honest with you. And not really seeing much pullbacks to that level, which we see some other stocks do so, like one that a lot of people have been talking about because it was just recently added to the S&P 500, which was Robinhood, aka Hood. This one again, that's like the daily side, is coming around the 50-day. But if you look at it at after hours trading, that it has come up quite a bit in the sense of going back up to like that 107, I believe. So it's going to be coming in around that 21 EMA level. So that is quite interesting there. Really just going to see this one try to break out to new all-time high. So let's kind of go create an alert there so we can kind of get that underway, get that understood. I want to dive into Bloom more. So what's all the chatter about Bloom Energy? So we're gonna go here. See, in deep view, it gives you like a little quick little understanding of what it does and how it's doing. And down here below, it's basically going from it has been making money, which some companies don't make money. If I don't know if you knew that, and they're running at a loss, but they're going from earnings coming down to really increasing quite a bit. So for this year, they're going to take a slight loss, but then the following year, they're going to earn about 53 cents of earnings, and that's basically in a sales increase has been hovering around. You can see here 20 or 10%, 11% here, 23%, but they were losing money at the time, but now they're increasing it. And so heavy investing, they have large contracts with basically Oracle. They have some contracts within, I think, South Korea as well for like again data centers. What do they do? So we can kind of look up here and can show you Bloom Energy. go to their site. They make these really interesting modular, uh, off the grid uh, power banks, basically. And these power banks, not power banks, uh, basically, I don't know, better describe this here. The website does a very good job on understanding it. The thing is, I don't like this render here. That's usually, oh, what's going on here? Application, the microgrid is basically here. So these basically, here, there's actually real life pictures. Here we go. Basically, these little grids here can be stacked in a modular fashion, and it can create reliable energy, um, to the data center, to the school, to the hospital, to whatever that gives them the amount of power that they may need. You can see this little very interesting graph here of this. What's the duration? Always on. Reliability always on. Fuel supply always on. Air pollution none. Then they kind of give diesel smog. On the grid power is smog. Blah blah blah. Batteries dependent on upon source. Power, of course, from solar and battery generation, which is great too, but its duration's very short. It's the reliable is the sun's got to be no clouds and so forth, and the fuel supply is, yeah, depending on the sun, and there is no pollution in the sense of it turning on, but making of the panels as well. So this is definitely something, a stock that I've been looking at, and I'm really interested in. Um, would like to see if everyone else out there is interested in that as well. But like I said, with Hood, it was just recently added to the S&P 500 on Friday. Basically, I don't know, a little bit after the close. It looked a little sketchy, to be quite honest. It was kind of not performing well. It sold off into the most of the day and actually got well below like $95, which is quite low. Basically, the low it's been in the last like 2 weeks, and kind of bounced off of that, with a lot of high volume too, which it was could have scared a lot of people. Bouncing back, not closing above the 50 SMA here on the close, but again, in the after hour stuff, we're looking at like 107. I think it was hit 108. So that's going to be put us right back up to here, like this level up here, putting us up in line with the 21 SMA here, the daily moving average there for that. So that's good, right? Like, could we have the same thing that happened with, if you remember, PLTR was also added to the S&P 500, and let me look up when that was happening. When did PLTR get added to S&P 500? I think it was like, I want to say it was like, wasn't it was like in this area right here? Was the beginning of August? Oh, it was further ago. The PLTR was added to the S&P 500 prior to index trading on Monday, the 23rd of September. It was really that long ago, of 2024? What? That's crazy. I didn't know it was that long ago. All right, 2024 September. Ah, look at that. That's interesting. September 23rd. So right here, this gap down here. So what's interesting about this is that, hey, guess what? A lot of the funds, the mutual funds, the people that own, have to be equal weighted, the indexes. Guess what? They're gonna have to buy PL or Hood coming next week, because they have to be equal weighted, because that is uh, their job as the fund. If it they are they're like, hey, we're a mark, or tried to be a mark to mark fund, to the S&P 500. So what can that entail? That's basically gonna tie to that they're gonna have to buy a large amount of shares, to be equal weighted. So that is the thought process is, I'm doing air quotes, that this volume would be pumped up. Because the thing, again, even with this here, we see, what is this? 11:24, 11. This is the daily 10:20. Yeah. PLTR did also have earnings in line, which kind of really boosted it up and really kind of drove it higher. But that's in it of itself. But that is definitely something that we could see with Hood. So keep your eyes out for that because the same kind of pattern. It was trading below the 50-day, kind of in and around that range, and then this thing could potentially go to Pluto. Like if we can see this range here from that. Any questions out there? Anything? Nope, not yet. Okay. Google's another one that had a great week. That thing took off quite well as well, jumping off at a very high rate here, basically due to some legal stuff, trade stuff, and not being anti security and so forth. And basically, once the lawyers go away, all that potential doubt and glimmer and basically dark clouds, this thing has just taken off from there and has just been huge gap up higher. And this has the, if you remember before, this is called the middle finger for the to the bull market. Is to the bear market. It's basically the five fingers. This is giving the big old middle finger here on volume. So this is could catapult itself quite a bit away higher here due to the momentum it could have behind it. On the flip side, there are some stocks that aren't doing too well, like with NVDA. NVIDIA was down nearly 3% just on Friday and basically nearly 10% over the past like 5 or 6 trading days from its recent high, which could be normal, right? It could be healthy, could be fine. That doesn't mean that it's crashing. It could be it's consolidating. There's a lot of things. The only thing that's a little bit of a warning flag is that hey, it's below the 50 day here on the daily side, and that is something that we should be looking out for. It's basically somewhat in a penalty box. We did just have earnings. They just did announce like a 50-60 billion dollar stock buyback. I don't think that always makes the stock drive higher, but that's something to look at. At the same time, we had, was it AVG, Broadcom have a pretty big boost high, basically getting up to almost 360 on Friday as well, but closing in the lower level of that range here. A lot of volume coming in there as well because they won something. OpenAI is designing their chips with them or something like that instead of NVIDIA. But if we're talking about who's making the chips, yes, NVIDIA designs them, AMD designs them, but guess who's making them? Taiwan Semiconductor manufacturer. And look where this puppy is. This thing is bouncing, knocking at the door at all-time highs here. So let's create an alert here to make sure we kind of capture that to see how that goes. This is a beautiful, people call it a Darvis box. They can call it all kinds of things. Let's see. I want to draw it plays here. Thank you. Oh, wrong button. Dot high crosshair. Nope. Where is my triangle brush? Let's do brush. So this is going to go whoosh right here. Look at that. That's a beautiful Darvis box. And I literally can't pass kindergarten here. But that's basically what we're looking at here. To see this potentially stay in that range there. If it can continue bouncing around in that area, potentially trying to get higher here. But that consolidating pattern, basically at all-time highs, the moving averages are nicely stacked, the 21, the 50. It's around the 50. Things are stacked. We could get a springboard higher. The other things to be mindful about is, hey, it is also September, which is probably, I think it's the worst performing, or it's the seasonality of it being one of the worst performers of the month. But I think that's all relative. I think it's if it's enough, if it's on the forefront of everyone's mind, I think it's something that could come true, but like, oops, I still got my draw tool here. Let's get this out of here. There we go. Cross here. Okay. So yeah, S&P 5 or the Nasdaq. Look what we're looking at here. We're basically knocking the door all-time highs. We knocked at the door. We kind of peek-a-booed a little bit here, kind of pulling back here again. All the lines are stacked in a proper form here. Nothing to be concerned about. Um, is there a recession coming? Are people worried? Should I sell everything? The one thing that I've always looked at is like a Walmart. Like how's Walmart? How's Costco doing? Um, are these like selling off? Or are they people getting scared? People trying to run for these kind of things? And you can see here. Why isn't it auto filling here? Come on now. Reset view. There we go. So with this, you can kind of see. I did that wrong. There we go. You can see here Walmart was kind of getting out. This thing has had a massive run, like, and this is all mixed up. There we go. There we go. And there we go. All right, Walmart. It performing not too hot. You can see here that the 200-day, it did nearly touch it. The weekly side here, very tight action here. Nothing to, again, to be concerned about. It had a pullback again, not even after earnings. I forget why the reason was about here. Sometimes there isn't a reason of what's going on there. Let me fix this there. Of what's potentially going on there. So we want to look at potentially of things make noise in the market, right? Like it doesn't mean that we have to run to the hills here, but I want to talk about some things that have been catching my eye. Anyone who loves video games, I'm sure, knows about the new Grand Theft Auto coming out. And guess what stock is to play with that? Is going to be Take-Two Interactive. Take-Two Interactive has been a uh, something that I have calls on, longer dated calls like leaps on as a long term play. It's been performing well, but again, it's a little volatile because again, they could change the date of the release again, so that could be something uh, to be, I won't say worried about, but that is a question because you can see here on the very bottom here, you can see the earnings really don't make any money until 2027. They're expected to lose nearly $2.10, or basically 168% from the previous year. Um, but the real money, the printer doesn't go brrr until it starts coming into 2027. So once 2027 rolls around, Take-Two Interactive could be literally printing money, and that's what the estimates are showing because the sales are going to be up 50%. That's quite phenomenal. And you can see the last time it was printing 50%, it was kind of trading sideways here. And then once it hit like 165, it just took off like a rocket ship. Um, I don't even remember when the last Grand Theft Auto came out. Like, um, there's going to be a lot of hype around this, a lot of hype. And you have to think too of like how many people are playing this particular angle here. Like, I wouldn't say that there's that many, because you kind of have to be somewhat of, I want to say, you have to be knowledgeable of the video game, but I think it's going to be the largest video game sale ever, probably, again, um, because Rockstar and the people at Take-Two, they put so much time and effort and really go out all out. So I think this is definitely going to be an interesting play to see uh, um, in the coming years. Like this is not something to like swing trade or for the next 1 or 2 weeks or even 1 or 2 quarters. Like this thing you have to wait until literally 2 years out from now. We're talking well over 600, 700 days to potentially see the return that you're looking for on this one. That's basically like a very speculative play. You have to have a lot of cahoots and time waiting to see on how this overall plays out. Um, but it depends if that is your cup of tea or not. Which a cup of tea sounds fantastic right now, actually. One stock that hasn't been doing well is basically CoreWeave. So this kind of came public, uh, not too like it came public, but it didn't really do much of anything, and then it kind of got a large bump, basically the beginning end of May because of stable coins. Like anyone who knows crypto probably knows about stable coins. They use Ethereum blockchain for it. But with CoreWeave, that's one of the first like publicly traded companies. So you can, most people wanted to get into the action of that. And that's why I think you saw the very large up move. I don't remember if there was the lockup was removed or not. I think the lockup was removed. Let's go ask that. We can see. Um, let's see what happens. When did they? Does anyone know when the core weaves? Um, stock lock update. I think it was basically. It was already went. If it was literally like the 625. Yeah, it was public offering the 28th. We know that. Reports indicated the lockup expiration occurred on or during August 14th to the 17th. So the 14th to the 17th. So that's not, that's basically August 14th. This is, why is this not loading here? August. So it's right, but like on the earnings date. So this is, it had a pop up going into earnings, and then this is when we start seeing probably the heavy selling here in this range here. Basically, the lockup date was released. So if you're not familiar with the lockup date means, is basically, hey, let's the people who are the employees, the IT person at CoreWeave, the janitors, the developers, or whoever else, the product people, the salespeople, were able to trade in their shares for cash, or there if there's investors or whatever else. That's basically what that means. Um, to for a lockup date, and that's usually a sign of selling, or a lot of volume coming in. The one thing I have to give an example to, if you remember Kava was it is still a good restaurant, but they had a lockup date, and I have to remember exactly when, but the lockup date happened, and then like nothing happened, and it just like went to Mars, and it really didn't look back, and now it's not really the most like attractive looking stock right now. It is a lot of selling here. Like look at all that red on that date. That must be some kind of earnings or something like that a couple weeks ago. That looks quite disgusting. And it's really just kind of just trading lower here. This is a very much like a topping pattern. Could this come back? Maybe, maybe so. Most likely not. This is basically in timeout. It has its the timeout. You've been a bad kid hat from the 1930s, 1920s, in the side corner of the classroom, just not being able to do anything here. This is very much like damaged goods. Um, if you look at earnings, they are looking to increase 17% into 2026, and then for sales going up 21%. That's pretty good. On the flip side, if we go to CMG, which is Chipotle, kind of the same pattern, right? Like it looks the same. It's sloping up, it's jagged, and it's on a very large downtrend. And like if you look at here for 2026, Chipotle is going to be making close to 12, almost let's call it 13%. So basically, Kava maybe has a magic. They're also trying to expand. Like How many Chipotles are there compared to Kava? Chipotle, there's probably thousands. Kava has 300, 400 stores nationwide. So could Kava be in the early stages? I love Kava. If you ever, most people who've tried it like it, but it could also be doing to in higher cost of labor, higher cost of goods is definitely a huge factor within the restaurant business. And the restaurant businesses haven't really been doing well. So if you also look at MCD, Mickey D's, it's actually Mickey D's is doing quite a lot better. Let me think of, is it Wendy's? Wendy's, yeah, Wendy's is doing terrible. Yikes. Not performing well here at all is here going through this understanding of Wendy's. Like this literally trading at all times lows here. This could be like where the folks at private equity are getting really excited to potentially acquire this. That's a lot of volume down there too. What is another? Does anyone have another suggestion for a thing? What is another good restaurant? Isn't who owns Olive Garden? What is the Olive Garden stock? It's like David or Danid or something like that. Damon something. There's that, and then there's like I think it's Olive Garden DRI. There we go. Olive Garden, but Olive. This is also owned multiple other things. It's Olive Garden and something else. Um, yeah, Dana Restaurants Network employs nearly 175,000 people. The company's strategies focus on providing desired range of dining experiences based on Olive Garden, their flagship casual dining chain, significant contributor to the overall revenue of the company. Yeah, that's performing better. Like maybe is the casual kind of thing going through is thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Someone's there. I just couldn't remember the symbol. It's been such a long time since I've looked at um, the restaurant group, honestly, because Cabo was the only one I was kind of trading there. What is the this is it Sprouts store? Is it called Sprouts? Sprouts. Oops. Sprouts. Yeah, Sprouts. There we go. SPT. Nope, that's not right. This is not Sprouts. SFM. Nope, SFM. There we go. Sprouts Farmers Market. Look at this guy. This has been a rocket ship here. Sprouts this is a grocery store. This is not an AI company. This is a grocery store that sells like healthier, higher end stuff, like probably equivalent to like a fresh market, Whole Foods kind of scenario. This is and this is kind of turning over here because you can see this is on a weekly side. The 10 is crossing past here, which is signaling potentially slightly of a pullback here. We're seeing it kind of come down here. It's not. It's going to be probably more concerning here. Yeah. So it's well below the 200-day here on the daily side, which is something that you got to look out for. Like this is basically if you're trading stocks within like the swing trading form for basically for at least 3, 4, 5 beat and raise quarters, you want this is like a no-go zone. Especially here, the RS rating is basically 43. You want something in the 95 plus. So give an example of like a 95 plus is like an A lab. If you're not familiar with A lab's another AI driven company that they make components for servers. They partner with a lot of the server companies for their chipsets components. The one that I hear the most about is CoreWeave. CoreWeave has also just reported this week. It did not jump as much as I think most people thought of or expected. It did have a great quarter and it raised guidance. It's making money. Um, but I think there's some potential hangups or hiccups that people are still a little bit caution about. Like again, this is they have like their two core customers are I think it's like 70 or 80% of their revenue. So that's quite a lot. So that's a risk there. And I think there was like something to do that they're like not based in the US or something like that. I can't remember. Need to look back on my notes to kind of see exactly what was going on there. Um, on that, let's go look at another one. So that again, the metrics on this one is fantastic. Like again, they're let's go back to the weekly side. They have an earnings growth for next year. Earnings are going to be up nearly 90%, and they're going to make about 120% increase in sales. That's a lot of money. Like again, they're going from this current year, they're going to be probably going to be making about 400 and let's just call it 450 million dollars, and they're going to basically more than double that and nearly try to hit a bill. They're going to try to hit a big B. They're going from the M club to the B club. That's a great change in pace on that one. It is a little bit more risky because it is tied to the AI stuff. Like we mentioned, that it has tied to one or two, three customers that are large percentage, but the chart is looking quite healthy here. That wonderful, beautiful golden line of opportunity, aka the 10-week line here on the weekly side, is just been holding up, and it's basically pointing at like 45 degrees, going right to the moon. I know I'm getting a little bit giddy about this one, between this one and A Lab, but like these, you could get a wake up call. Like, are they extended? Yes. Are they? This one's probably A Lab is consolidating maybe a little bit better, but not to the full extent there. But I think that this is definitely a play that we could see um, potentially breaking out. You can see that breakout range basically around 200, and we can see this one potentially run here. So again, setting stops, you have setting expectations is just one thing, but you have to have some kind of a game plan. I think it was Eisenhower before they went into D-Day. They had like the plan book was like two two big old like phone books, and he's like, this we have planned for years for this attack into France and in Normandy, but once combat hits, throw that plan out because that's where the rubber meets the road. So just what I basically mean by that is have a plan, set stops, and your rule number one basically is risk management. Don't put the whole account in. Don't buy short dated options. Don't just go completely YOLO and just buy the $200 calls expiring next week. Could that work? Yes. What's the likelihood of that? There's the options market will give you that probability day to day, mark to mark. But uh, if you want to be around in 1 or 2 years to continue to have your account up in green, you have to take some risk management guidelines. And we can talk about that on a different stream or different live event on how to manage risk and how to potentially how much to put into each trade, when to stop out, and set some guidelines or guardrails, as some people call them. Let's go. We did NVIDIA. Another one. Here's another murmur. Word on the street is basically we're seeing uh, MSTR MicroStrategies, Michael Saylor's company. This was kind of came on my radar because with like a hood being added to the S&P 500, they're talking about potentially adding MicroStrategies to the S&P 500. So that's going to be quite interesting. Um, is I don't know if this is 100%. Excuse me. If it's 100% true or if it's factual. but this is definitely something that we could see happen. And this is something that I'm not going to be putting in a lot into the account to potentially see it play out. It is very risky because it's a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. So the rumor mill is spinning, but the news cycle hasn't hit it yet, meaning it hasn't been confirmed. The news hasn't happened. And we did kind of talk about earlier about Hood on how that could potentially play out, like PLTR did basically September of last year, on how much it popped and how much it moved from those levels. Anyone got any questions out there? I think there's 2 or 3 folks out there. I've been talking here. Let's see here. MSTR, yeah, very much in a downward trend. It's not at the 10-week line, which I like to see. Is it because if you look on here, the daily side, it's well below the 200 moving average here, which is the red line here. And that's something I definitely don't want to see as well. Like that's concerning. It's kind of broken. It's the mojo, because if you go to where did I have that at? Maybe I can't find it now. But like if you compare this to like Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was going up around like this level here, MSTR was going down. So basically, what MicroStrategy is MicroSailor's like financial wizardry of owning and then selling basically debt and so forth, using the company's debt to buy Bitcoin to leverage it up. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now, it's performing low, but this stock is known to have some crazy swings. This stock is, if you go back just a couple years, if you go back to basically 2020 into 2023, I know some folks who went crazy, insanely long at this breakout here. Like, look at this beautiful pattern right here. Let me just watch this. This is gonna be my fantastic, oops, drawing tools here. Can I do price level? Let's go here. Rectangle. There we go. This level right here. Look at that. That's a Darvis box if I ever seen it. It basically was in purgatory. It stayed in between these two ranges here, and then once it got a little bit of oomph, it just went oomph and then some more. Basically running up from, basically let's call it 195 to a high of 544 within a very short period of time. We're talking, this is a weekly sign, so we're talking 7 weeks, 8 weeks. It jumped up that high. That's quite phenomenal. Like, and if some people had calls on this, they were literally those were printing for sure. Could we see that again here? Maybe, right? Maybe. Because again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't think if you have a crystal ball, but if you do have a crystal ball, I would love for you to share it with me. But you're probably too busy using it. That is definitely something that we could see break out here, but we'll see if that plays out. Another one I wanted to talk about was MP. So this is someone way back in the day, earlier, former person that came onto a lot of the live streams, talked about this of MP, Implied Materials. Basically, when it first came out, because it was a SPAC. It was a SPAC. If you look back here, it was a SPAC for $10. It came out, it did its thing. Then once like it kind of rolled off and really didn't do much, and then the overall market turned over, and it basically took it with it. So Implied Materials, or MP, basically produces rare earth materials, I think in Nevada and a couple other places. And I think the government took a small stake in it. I think it took like a 10 or 15% stake in it. And I'm not quite sure what the government's going to be doing with that portion, or that nice chunk of change there. On how that plays out. But MP is something that we could see, because again, this whole reshoring, coming back to the States, kind of stuff. And like this is a market where we could see a lot of growth coming into. Seeing it potentially hit this 21 sorry, this is the weekly side. So this is the 10-day 10-week uh, moving average here. So this is the golden line of opportunity, we call it. It's bouncing off it right now. It did not close. I like the fat candles. So let's see. It's basically, yeah, it didn't close below that. So that's totally fine. Um, you'll see if it holds, even if it closed like 1 or 2% below it, that's totally fine as well. But we wanted to see it kind of hold this pattern here. And with that caveat, we don't want to see it break this 10-week line and then a lot of volume come in. That's that's usually a sign of look out. There could be some more damage coming in, or the stock is damaged, or some bad news, bad press, bad earnings, whatever. That's usually a sign that there's something wrong. And usually, if you see smoke, there's sometimes fire, or in their case, they're probably just getting materials and rare earth stuff when you see smoke from their factories and other things. So little dad joke there. That's fine. We talked about Google, Tesla. Anyone who's been a long time viewer of the channel knows that Ken loves the Tesla. Um, this has been a diamond hands for me of holding this stock. This thing has been very good to me, very bad to me at the same time at many times in my life. The cars are fantastic in my opinion. Um, could we see more out of Tesla? 100%. I think that Tesla's in its building phase, its consolidation phase. It's really not seeing any life right now compared to other stocks in its realm of growth, technology, and so forth. For whatever reasons, EVs are hated. Uh, Probably some cases due to the U.S. Credit going away. That's definitely going to hurt them for sure in the U.S. But then they're putting out numbers like, "Hey, we sold 7,000 cars in South Korea or Indonesia or something like that." I'm like, good, but is that going to be that like the 100,000 cars that you sell in the United States in a quarter, or maybe sorry, it's probably more than that. It's probably like close to like 200 to 220,000, so forth. But I know they're selling well in China too, which is fantastic to hear. But looking strictly at the chart here, you can kind of see here also in the earnings, they're losing quite a bit this year. Um, they were based. This is the first time I think ever that they're losing on sales. So that is a concerning sign for me, being a Tesla shareholder, where hey, we last year we were expected estimated to make and reported basically $97 billion. Um, did that happen? Yes. This year for 2025, we're going to be losing about 6% of that, and we're going to be around 92. Um, for that reason, is that because again, slower sales, uh, are things kind of slowing down in the overall market? Like we just mentioned, like what's the driver behind this? Okay, no pun intended. There is no driver in most Tesla cars. They're rolling out the robo taxi, competing with Waymo and so forth. Like, is lidar the best? Is Should we use lidar? Like, and Tesla has a pretty strong standpoint of not being a fan of lidar, and solely relying on the visual cameras and if it learning the environment through the eyes of that. So that's just interesting to see how that one plays out. So this one really is just continuously on my watch list and just seeing how it plays out. Volume is drying up here, which is a good sign, and it's not going lower here. Let's just kind of put a purgatory consolidation box around these guys as well. Here, so oops, wrong button. Go here, do the rectangle. And we're going to do this purgatory box here. And we'll see how long that stays in that box for until it breaks out or breaks down. Like, again, I'm not saying it can't break down. I'm more of an optimistic person um, on that front. So if you're a Tesla fan, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not, go ahead and hit that like button as well. We'll see how that one plays out. There was one. Where was the? We did CoreWeave, did BE, Google. We kind of covered. Any stocks that you guys want to look at? I saw 3 or 5 people join here. Thank you guys for joining. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Greatly appreciate that. I wanted to do top tier. Where Crowd? Yes, Crowd. So CrowdStrike. You remember CrowdStrike, right? This is the company that like had the that funny meme where they had where they basically pushed out an update and it bricked everyone's laptop, and it was like a main software installed on like the terminals and computers at like Delta and a bunch of the airlines, and it caused a massive amount of delays and panic and so forth like that. That's what that looks like, right? This is that huge downward trend, and it's recovering. Like it's literally higher than where it was previously to that, and it's actually kind of pulling back here a little bit. Not the levels where I like it. It's a little bit too. Actually, it's not too bad actually because it's around this level here. We're looking at the weekly side because it's coming right back into the 200-day. I'm not the most thrilled when a stock hits the 200-day. I want something a little bit more aggressively around the 50, 55-ish range, especially on the golden line of opportunity, the 10-week line here, and seeing how that overall plays out. Ah, love my spin drift. That's the car. That's Meta. Meta. Facebook. Look at that. Look at that beautiful chart. There's nothing to really report there. They're still growing year after year. They're just letting people go. That's how they're growing. Netflix. I don't know how they keep on doing it. I have so many horror stories. Let's go to the monthly side. I think I became a Netflix subscriber basically like 2026. If I bought that stock at $5, oh my gosh. Look at this. That would have been yikes. Hi caramba. Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab. This is again the basically not the only one, but you really can't trade SpaceX yet. It's still a private company. Rocket Lab is basically a company that's trying to again make reusable rockets and so forth. But this stock has been substantially performing well here. It does not make a positive earnings yet. It's still losing money even into 2026. There's no 2027 projections yet. A little bit too far out. But this is an interesting one. This is a very tight pattern here. We got to draw the rectangle here as well. So we'll kind of see how I'm going to add a little bit here to kind of give it a little bit of time to kind of consolidate in this level before it breaks out. So again, we're looking to break it out above that 52-ish 50. Let's create that there, and then we'll do the same thing to the lower end. Again, this was creating the beloved Darvis box. Great book if you haven't read it. Very easy read as well. Uber. This is one that's kind of began. Uber and Dash. Like Dash is definitely this is a great opportunity to compare two things. Dash, yes, they don't really move people, they just move food and products. Uber moves people, products, and has a huge like view on transportation and changing things ever. Like they do freight, all this kind of stuff. Um, and once self-driving cars comes more notorious and becomes more safety and more of a norm, I think that Uber is definitely going to have a huge impact on that because guess what? Like probably one of the largest costs that they have is paying the contractors, paying the drivers, and all that kind of stuff. And same with Dash. Like, but look how much tighter Dash is, and how it like if you go back to Uber, kind of sporadic, breaking between the golden line and the blue line, not too great. It is kind of in a range there, but it's not holding any of the moving averages. But if you look at Dash, it's been performing a lot better. So what that potentially could mean is that more institutionals are buying this range and just kind of keep it moving it up. It's just like it's like the invisible hand of capitalism is just propelling this stock higher here and just moving it up to the top right of our charts here and performing well. Like now it's kind of building here around the 10 week, and that's the golden line of opportunity. Like this could be a level of entry if you want to get into it. Does that mean you have to? But again, it's all up to your cup of tea of what risk you want to take. And just having a stop at 2.5%, 3%, 5%, whatever your first level stop is, so you don't lose everything. Because again, there is if everyone knew and just bought the 10-week line and didn't do anything about it and just made money, everyone would be a billionaire. This is the fun thing here. Dave, this stock comes constantly on my screens, constantly. Um, Finally kind of consolidating here with volume kind of kicking in lower here. So we'll see how that one plays out. I really don't have much to add to this one. I don't know the fundamental stories. I can kind of see here they're definitely making money. They're making a lot of money here. Revenue, I'm sorry, earnings. They're gonna make they're gonna make a little over like 600, yeah, basically $600 million here for the next year. And that's basically up 15% from the previous year. But um, this is kind of like a one stock that had like some overhead stuff that I usually don't like to look at, but I missed that one for sure on that. We did Spotify was another great one, kind of like Dash. Look how beautiful that is continuously moving up the side here and just kind of slowly guiding up the 10 and 50 day here or 50 week here, just slowly getting up here. And I want to confirm that I have you to give you the right numbers. The weekly, sorry, it's the weekly 30. That makes more sense. So it's the 30 and 10 and just slowly grinding its way up here. Very beautiful pattern. Kind of consolidating here because it does have to take a breath because it has been running for quite some time here. So we could see some consolidation kind of kicking up in there. Let's go to my main list here again. China. So this is FXI. This is the ETF for China. This has been doing better. As you can see here, it's kind of knocking on the door to try to potentially try to break out here. Again, fill in the blank for the reason why. Is the tariff stuff kind of come to the end? Are we making a deal with them? Is it going to be kicked down the road again, another 90-day extension, so forth? But China has been somewhat, no pun intended, in the doghouse and thus not performing too well for a lot of various reasons. Even like when we talk about the tariff stuff, that was basically happened in this area here in April, where it kind of collapsed here. But now it's rebounded and breaking out to all-time highs, right? Like that's right. The things are fine. Like that V-shaped recovery was absolutely astonishing on how we recovered from those levels that fast. And really the large people that the United States was going after is the imports from China. So their ETF is pretty phenomenal there. Da da da. Any other questions out there? I don't know if Troy or Matthew are still out there. I appreciate the comments, folks. If you're anyone out there, hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that as well. Nuclear. This is the OKLO. Okalo. I think that's how I'm saying it right. Um, this is again strictly nuclear, and this is a company that is getting a lot of press. It doesn't make any money yet. The U.S. is trying its best to get back into the nuclear generation. Like we kind of really haven't innovated on this in a really long time, and just kind of been very stagnant, and not putting any a lot of eyes or money in this realm, within our energy stuff. And then the whole energy boom that we're seeing right now, especially with the data centers and how much, sorry, I got something in my eye, on how much energy those suck up, and then how much power is needed to power those systems. Um, and the overall grid hasn't really grown that much year after year. It's basically just growing with the slight population increases here in the United States. Um, so it's nothing like to write home about, to be quite honest, right? Let's see. That's basically NNE. VST. Yeah, VST is another electronic company there as well. Let me just go to the dashboard here. Yeah, Vago was up nearly 9%. That's insane. Google, huge move there. Meta, blah, blah, blah. Microsoft went down. I didn't know that. Lilly, yeah, what's Lilly been up to? Lilly. Earnings, fine. And the last movers in the last month, we've seen a lot of movers in solar, silver miners, gold miners. Oh, gold! That's what I wanted to talk about, guys. No one reminded me. Let's go to GLD. Gold. Look at gold. What does this look like? It's trying to break out. Wow. Are we seeing that's all-time highs, ladies and gentlemen, in gold. That's insane, right? Who would have thunk gold breaking out? Um, and again, if we go to like a monthly side, like look at how much gold has run. Again, this was, if you're anything with about Can Slim or anything like a Jim Ropel or whoever on the Can Slim side, look at that beautiful cup and handle, and then boom goes the dynamite. And like look at that, like rocket ship up. That is those are more than 36 Merlin engines going into Mars. This is an absolutely run here, and then all-time highs on Friday. Like that's quite remarkable stuff that we're seeing coming out of this of gold. Like it's quite impressive for sure. Gold, gold, gold. I need to add that to my list. Let's go here. My list. Need to add. Really easy to add, I think. Need to add GLD. Did I add it? There we go. Add it. Wunderbar. So I've been going for about a little bit an hour now. So if there's any more questions out there or so forth, I didn't have too many today. I know we're just starting this back up. Hopefully, I'll be doing this a lot more often to kind of get a weekly, maybe even a daily, nightly chat, with the folks here on the YouTubes, and really kind of get created a community here, and have just a good chat and just share some ideas that we see currently in the market. But that being said, I greatly appreciate each and every person that kind of came out, Troy and then Matthew as well. Thank you for um, showing up and commenting, and whoever hit the one like button, I greatly appreciate that as well. Um, on that comment and that down below, I will try to stream this coming days, and so we can kind of discuss some more information that we're currently seeing in the market and so forth. But again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming out and watching, and hopefully safe trading out there. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.